Hey guys, how's it going? It's Space Cowboy here. Welcome back to the channel with another video for you guys here today, and we have some breaking news as I do my first standalone video of 2025. Mike McCarthy is not returning as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, so now the Cowboys will have to go on a coaching search, which will probably get taken care of before this video even gets out there, probably. All jokes aside, we still have to talk about this whole situation with Mike McCarthy. But if you haven't done so already, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, hit that notification bell, and if you want to check out the live content and other stuff on the channel, the Cowboys Roundup is the podcast I do with Cowboys Beat. Be sure to go subscribe up to him, and also make sure to check out the content on the channel regarding the podcast, because we're for sure going to have to talk about this in an emergency podcast at some point. But looking at this situation, as I mentioned, Mike McCarthy ain't coming back. They're letting his contract expire, so this is the second time in a row where the Dallas Cowboys elected to have the head coach have their contract expire. But this one's different compared to the Jason Garrett situation, because with Garrett, they didn't want to fire him. They wanted his contract to expire so it looks a bit nicer on his resume. This go around, it had nothing to do with the fact that they didn't want McCarthy back. It had nothing to do with the fact that McCarthy didn't want to coach here. It's the fact that they allegedly wanted to give him a 1-year prove-it deal with incentives. And Mike McCarthy was like, screw you guys, I'm going to just go to Chicago or New Orleans or maybe take the year off and get a coaching gig elsewhere. Like, the front office is so tone deaf, because they want to do this whole charade of, oh, well, we need a incentive-laced contract for the head coach because, the players get it too. Dude, it's not how the market works. I said it in the podcast. Mike McCarthy was making around $8 million a year, and when you compare it to some of his contemporaries, he's being well underpaid with what the market was showing. And again, I'm not trying to sit here and say that Mike McCarthy is this amazing head coach or anything like that. I've gone on record. I said he's a good coach, but he's not going to, at this point, get you over the top, and I didn't want him here anymore. I said it at the end of last year. But this is what happens when you don't pull the trigger. You get bullshit like this, and now you have to go through a whole coaching search, which, by the way, I don't even think the Joneses wanted to go through the coaching search. The only reason they're forced to is because their dumbasses waited so long to make a decision. If they brought back Mike McCarthy, it is what it is, but at least you have a decision of how you want to take the franchise. But if they go after, and I think in the list that I talked about earlier in the year, you have, Kellen Moore. I mentioned Mike Zimmer, but this probably means that Mike Zimmer isn't coming back. I did mention Bill Belichick, but he's now off that option. I would say now the outside hire is either Jason Witten or John Gruden. I mean, we'll see, but the Cowboys are not going to get someone that's young, innovative. I would be shocked, to be honest with you, if that was the case. And if it's Kellen Moore, it's just the same old bullshit we're going to have to go through. And I really don't have much more to say on this topic because we don't know who the next head coach is, but we're pretty sure to find out relatively soon. Now, in case you're wondering, like, the time frame, when they said they weren't bringing Garrett back, it was pretty much like 2 days before they locked in on McCarthy. So once we start hearing who they're talking to and all this other stuff, I'm pretty sure we're going to know immediately who the next head coach is. And so to just wrap up this era of Cowboys football, Mike McCarthy ends this tenure with going 6-10, 3 straight 12-5 seasons with 2 NFC East titles, another 7-10 or another 10-loss season with a 7-10 record, and 1 playoff win against an 8-9 Tampa Bay team. I mean, it is, you got to play who you play in front of you, but still, you look at that resume, no NFC title game appearances, no Super Bowl titles or appearances, of course, but it's just very annoying, to say the least, with where the status of this franchise is. Will they do a serious coaching search? No, they're going to lock in and they're going to just be lazy with who they're going to take, and then they'll just go from there. At this point, I just need to figure out who the coach is, because that's kind of what's putting a pause on who I want the Cowboys to take in mock drafts. Like, the mock draft Mondays will be coming back. It's just that we're waiting for news on the Dallas Cowboys and what they're going to do at the head coaching position. But I don't really have much more to say, guys, other than, hey, Mike, best of luck over to wherever you go. I understand you didn't want to deal with this bullshit anymore. I don't blame you. But it is what it is. It's time to move on. It's time to find another coach. And now we get to see who's going to be the next head coach for the possible next 5 years, unless it's a complete travesty. But I digress, guys. I'll let you guys go off of that. And again, be sure to check out the clips from the podcast when they come out. Make sure, again, to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, guys. Bye-bye.